Okay, preparation time is over, action time is now. Let's send out that card and start sealing some hearts like this game is allegedly supposed to be about. Well, that and, you know, reading books, hanging out with your classmates, going to spas. It's a multi-layered series. Don't even worry about it, Mishima. I got this handled. I mean, you might say that Kamoshida is going to have quite the change of heart soon enough. Which does sound a lot more sinister than it actually is, but I have talked in the past about the ethical issues that might come up with the heist we're about to pull off here. Well, this is a matter of life or death, so... haven't really got too much choice. The time for rationality is over. The time for supernatural intervention is now. And yes, I know you're gonna say, hey, I don't think that getting expelled from school is life or death, but, well, have you seen the world that the main character is living in? That might as well be a death sentence. He's signing the main character's death warrant if he gets expelled from school. Like, people will just attack him in the streets if they know that he's been expelled. I've been would you say that you've been waiting for this before we do an all-out attack, Anne? But yeah, so how exactly are we going to be sending this card? I mean, if it was up to me, we just go grab, you know, happy 16th birthday, granddaughter, and then just write, hey, Kamoshida, we're stealing your heart. I don't think it really needs to be all that much more than that, after all. But, okay, Ryuji's going to take over for this. I mean, Ryuji, I gotta tell you, I also agree here. You don't really have the best track record for anything. Except for your actual track record. You were apparently quite the superstar when it came to track and field. So, basically, if you screw this up, I think the series is going to be changing from Japanese study with Persona 5 to Japanese study with Danganronpa. So, think hard about this. You know, I never actually thought about, like, would I do another Japanese study series? I just assumed that this one would be kind of what covered everything. It's such a long series, and, you know, you're getting a lot out of it. It's like, do you really need a second one? Yeah, probably not. But I don't know. Maybe if, for some reason, this blows up in popularity like crazy, I'll continue to go on with this sort of train. Wouldn't be opposed to having, like, a secondary type of series alongside Dead Cells as far as something that's really popular goes here. But that's, at least at this point in time, not going to happen. Hey, cool. I mean, I think I know exactly what that logo is going to be, seeing a lot of the promotional material for the game and all that. Ryuji is very confident in his graphic design ability. Maybe being a street thug is not befitting of him, and he can just go into, like, designing, you know, like actual advertisements and stuff like that. Or it's going to be terrible. We haven't actually seen this right now, and he's not really too open about what this is going to let just go. I mean, I trust you, I guess, as much as anybody. I don't think you're going to take no for an answer regardless, so let's just, yeah. I mean, I do wonder if there is going to eventually be a time where we need to do that. Especially knowing what happens about halfway through the game. Oh yeah, the party in a can thing. Still don't know exactly how to use those. They're not usable in battle. So I think that they're probably one of those ones that, you know, you use in a safe room. Which, I said before, hard mode does not really give you too many resources to be working with. So the ability to heal outside of battle for a huge amount to the entire party, especially when I don't have any sort of full party healing skills right now, is going to be quite useful. Sakura, come on, don't do the, hey, I never see you smile type of thing. It's like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, it's because I'm ugly. Is that what you want to hear? Ah, well, let's get back to some good old-fashioned lore. There's still a lot to be learned from the television here, and I can't keep neglecting this thing over and over. It's not like there's a whole lot else to do right now anyway, now that we're going to be sending out the card. Yeah, just talking more about the accidents and the resignation of the minister, as well as distrust towards the government. Is that like a poll that they have in Japan? How much do people distrust government? 1 in 10 people say that the government cannot be trusted at all. Alright. Come on, I mean, we know... It's like, I'm not quite sure if... Yeah, Morgana's not going to let me actually clean off anything here. Sakura did say to clean up the room a little bit more, and I still have yet to do anything with that. Hey, it's been a real roller coaster of a last couple weeks here, so you'll excuse me if I'm kind of neglecting, tidying up the room a little bit. Okay, today's the day. Finish up this dungeon, and that actually means no more dungeoneering for a while. Well, good job, Ryuji. And this is the point in time when I would just straight up switch over to Tengen Ronfa in the middle of this, but I don't do that extensive of editing in series. Now I like a light touch. You get a couple crossfades here and there, and that's about it. We're not going to have like crazy animations happening on screen or anything. So, Ryuji wrote this one, eh? I do like the ransom note style text that he decided to use here. Cutting that out of magazines, which are still booming because this is Persona. Stuff like watching TV and ordering stuff from QVC are still possible. Well, so the mark's not really... the mark. That's the Japanese thing. Logo, it's a mark. But yeah, not quite what the final version is, but I still like it. I think it's got a neat look to it there. Yeah. Hey, that's how you do it. It's like that is... I should just make that the thumbnail, just because it's like that is literally this series. I looked up a bunch of online stuff for reference. Yeah, still have never been in a class for Japanese, never talked to anybody else about learning Japanese. It has just literally been me working with flashcards and online dictionaries. Did he? Oh boy, you don't even know. It's... Yeah, I mean, I know it's like, yeah, this is the best way to get this dude's attention and everything, but you think that you could really just send him a card. He's not really a very composed type of character and tends to fly off the handle pretty easily, it seems. Unless somebody's about to actually, indict him in something. For example, right there. Ooh, Daz! I question my supreme authority over the school. I mean, you could have probably, like, keyed his car, too. That would also be equally effective. I mean, yeah, but can't really... it surprises me that it took as long as it did to figure out who the Phantom Thieves were. It's not like... It's not like there were a whole lot of questions here. I mean, even Kamoshida himself kind of figured this out immediately. Well, alright. Sure. Not like it really matters. I'm right in front of the treasure as it is. I mean, even from the last time that I was in the dungeon, there was, what, one enemy in front of the big throne room area? It's like, nah, that's... I mean, it certainly does get the point across that, yeah, it's going to be getting a little bit wacky in the dungeon there, but I don't think that actually has any actual effect on the way I'm going to approach this. Why can it not be repeated? I mean, I feel like he would still probably get angry at anything we do. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that we can just, send another card immediately, but if we did wait, like, I don't know, a week or something, right before exploration, and then, again, just keyed, we're going to steal your heart into his car, we could probably give it another try. However, much like Morgana said before I went to sleep the previous night, this is kind of do or die. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if you die in the palace, you die in real life. As you do. Okay, so right here. And in the safety save file, I actually didn't even open up that safe room, so I did have to make the trek here, which was silly. There's unique. Morgana gives you unique dialogue if you unlock a safe room on the day you send out the calling card. He's like, hey, wait a second, there's no safe room here? Oh, well, whatever, we got bigger fish to fry. Also, yeah, the music in the background is the same as the one for the opening. So I guess that is kind of the theme of stealing hearts. By the way, something I never actually pointed out. First off, you can't actually sit on the chair, which is rather disappointing. But the throne is directly facing a gigantic statue of legs, which means that as he's sitting on his throne, he's just looking at a big old butt all the time. Cool. Great. So, the treasure is the giant crown. My longest yeah boy ever for stealing the treasure. Yeah, I don't care that that's old memery. Anyway, so it's a big floating crown. I guess, yeah, that's a treasure. To be honest, kind of expected the gold medal when I came in here. Because, the whole, like, Olympic thing is literally the only other thing that Kamoshida has going on aside from being a monster. I don't know, it's pretty impressive. I'm impressed by this. Probably should have brought like a big wheelbarrow in here or something. Yeah, I just want to make some room for great cat voice acting again. Good stuff. All right, well, I mean, if it's floating, it should be pretty easy to get out of here, if nothing else. Just like grab it and have it trailing behind me here. Or maybe it's locked in place. Who knows? Yes, Morgana. It's almost as if you might not be human, but some sort of shadow that would be drawn to human desires. Still don't think that that's gonna be the twist, because that's... Well, they've done that before, basically. So, Morgana couldn't even touch the crown at the same time he's touching the ground. Unless he's gonna like do some sort of mid-air swimming motion, I don't really think that this would actually work in any way. But come on, just grab it. There's a bunch of little handles on top there anyway. Yeah, probably. Which is very much in character for Morgana. Anyway. But it's still, like, kind of shifting around like it's floating. How is it heavy? And of course, it can't even steal any of the other stuff. That's what I was talking about with the wheelbarrow. Should have at least, like, grabbed a few of these coins here. The items that you get inside the dungeon, you can sell. Not the time for tarot card nonsense here. Can we just get out of here before we get into a boss fight, even though it's kind of inevitable? Yeah, Baton Touch doesn't really strike me as something particularly useful, but maybe in the future I'll, up against some tougher enemies that have weaknesses and stuff like that. No, yeah, don't need a subtitle for that one. Well, that at least makes it somewhat more convenient, I guess. And finally, you can get your stupid little Archie Jughead crown replaced with something that, you know, isn't completely embarrassing. So, yeah, I guess he can just have as many Anns as he wants. And it's kind of surprising that Ann is reacting like that, considering that, you know, she completely cleaved a previous one of the Ann shadows in twain. Oh boy. Yeah, I think this is where they want to kind of give some sort of like reasoning or understanding as to why Kamoshida feels the way he does, but if the best they can come up with is hey, I'm not evil, you're evil for letting me do all the things I did, is I think that here is also where the writers kind of realized we made this dude irredeemable. It may just be that they want to show how ridiculously megalomaniacal Kamoshida is. You know, show that he really is pure evil. And they are giving him the old villainous speech cliche right now, after all. And that's going to be something, I don't know, in contrast to later villains who have a few more dimensions to them. Or it could just be that we're supposed to be taking this at face value. I did kind of come up with the idea before that this is a world that is based on, like, what if a teenager who is disillusioned with society, who is angry at the man, what if they were all correct? What if that is not only just somewhat of what was going on, but exactly what was going on? What if you made a world based entirely around a System of a Down song? And I do think that is definitely a possibility still. Well, anyway, it's not really too much more to say here, so throw on that crown and become a big old monster man. I still did want to kind of be fighting the crown itself, if I could. Man, really throwing on that reverb. I'll let you finish this. Like, why are we even arguing with this guy? It's not like we're going to win this with diplomacy. Although I will say this is a lot more interesting than some of the other battles in the... I didn't point at you. I did like a big sweeping motion in front of me with my full arm. But, yes, a lot of dialogue in these fights. And actually a very, very long fight. So strap yourself in, because it's going to be a while. Alright, but yeah, this is also maybe the third time that I fought Shadow Kamoshida here. Dude is tough. And you do really have to plan out stuff a little bit more than just hitting weaknesses, because he has no weakness. I mean, what you see is what you get. Pretty much doing pure damage, and I'm going to be using a lot of buffs, healing, all that sort of stuff. Pretty much what's going to be happening is we're going to have main character on tank. I did do a quick Rakunda to make sure that his defense was lowered for a little bit. But I'm going to switch out then to the slime persona to get some physical resistance, since almost everything he does is physical. I think actually, yeah, everything he does is physical, with the exception of one super attack. So yeah, being able to kind of tank your way through this, considering that when the main character goes down, it's over, is important. And then Ann is going to be on debuff. She does have Tarunda, so she can kind of lower the amount of damage that Kamoshida is going to be healing in general, as well as the ability to heal, so she's going to kind of be on that duty. If anybody needs to get SP over the course of this fight, it's going to be her, because the debuffs do take a lot of SP to actually use. Morgana is almost entirely on healing. every single round he's going to be healing. And then the big damage, actual, you know, fighting potential we have here is mostly going to come from Ryuji, and just Ryuji spamming his toughest attack over and over. Yeah, since I got him Rakunda'd here, I kind of want to get as much damage in at the start as possible, so I'm not focusing really hard on... So I'm focusing a little bit more on damage as opposed to kind of defensive actions for the time being. Debuffs, buffs, all that sort of stuff last 3 rounds, I think. In previous games, it used to be that they could be stacked like 3 times in a row. Here, it's just the one as far as I can tell, so there's no use in wasting MP over and over. When it gets to the next round, I'm just going to hit him with the Tarunda again, and yeah, make sure that he's not going to be dealing too much damage. Oh, but of course, there's a bunch of different phases here. Great. So yeah, if you were wondering, you can't actually target the cup, the trophy, until he uses it. So if you want to get a little bit of a head start there, nah, not happening. And here I'm going to switch up the Genbu one more time to try to get the trophy down as fast as possible. So lower its defense and then have Ryuji on big attack. I mean, he could also retaliate with, like, big attacks if you do that sort of thing. That does definitely happen in your traditional turn-based RPGs in this way, after all. But no, you really are trying to take down that cup as fast as possible. Great. What a great move. Another reason why I want to use Tarunda here. I'm saying Tarunda because that's how I thought about it. It's probably Tarunda, but I don't know. So yeah, don't really know like anything about what his weaknesses might be. Maybe he's weak to like light and dark, but I don't think so. I don't really have the ability to test that. And any time that I attempted to use any like a status effect on him, it definitely didn't work. Now, what you really want to do when it comes to Megami Tensei games is go real hard on making sure that your buffed enemies are debuffed, everything like that. Because otherwise they will... Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, otherwise they'll take you down quickly. But yes, sometimes Kamoshida will just stop attacking to stare at Anne. You're gonna want to have Anne defend on that turn. For reasons that you'll see in like 1 second. Big attack. Of course I didn't here because I forgot? Or I wasn't paying attention? Yeah, 90 HP is a lot to be, for any character to be taking at this point in time, but especially one that's not a main character who doesn't have the same ability to deal with physical attacks. Alright, then I just threw on a healing bead. Got a few of those from the various treasure chests around here. It's a full heal, so if anybody gets real low, you can kind of deal with that. You don't get a whole lot of those things, but you get enough that I think that boss fights are definitely where you want to be using them. And that gold knife does do a lot of damage. Kind of want to watch out for that. But it's, especially on hard mode here, it really does take a while to take down everything, which means you do have to kind of think about this as being in for the long haul. And that's why stuff like buffs and kind of sparingly using some of your more powerful attacks are pretty advisable. I mean, this is definitely the series where you don't want to be stingy with some of your items. For example, also, I only have a... By the way, what is he sitting on right now? A big eyeball type of thing. Which might be something of a theme, because in the past there have been some very eyeball-focused final bosses in the game. So I'll have to keep a lookout on that the next time we fight an actual big boss here. But yes, I was saying I only have one revive item, so if I can avoid using that, that's probably for the best. If I need to use that, I am absolutely going to be using that, no question. I agree with Anne here. It's like, come on. Come on, man. Hey, that worked with Takemi. Why wouldn't it work here? Alright, big attack. And it just did almost nothing at all. I mean, I assume if I wasn't playing on hard mode that would probably be maybe just the slightest bit more effective, but yeah. Says you. We are actually going to be getting everywhere with brute force. So, yeah. Now, the actual thing that I would be saying right now is, no, we're going to keep attacking him and not be messing around with any of this. Have someone go there. Well, obviously the answer is, don't send Anne there. He will realize that almost immediately. But really, for right now, I'm not going to be sending anybody over there. Because if you do, well, first off, if you send somebody to try to do a little bit of subterfuge and take out the crown, it does mean that you are going to be without a party member for a while. And that's bad. But that's not even the worst thing. The worst thing is that when you do send somebody out, he gets a much more... He kind of like switches phases. He gets a much more powerful attack, and that is something that I can't really deal with if the person I send out can't seal the deal. And it might just be a hard mode thing where your party members are not particularly good at their job when it comes to climbing up the terrace and trying to steal the crown, but it's something that I didn't really want to risk. I wanted to make sure that he was very low on health, so if it wasn't if the whole plan wasn't successful here, then I wouldn't die, basically. Besides, the one character that really matters, the main character, does have a lot of resistance to any attack that he's going to be pulling out right now. So the question, what actually happens if you do successfully pull off a plan? Well, it takes several rounds to happen in the first place. The character kind of goes and hides behind the big butt statue, climbs up the terrace, and then tackles the crown off of Shadow Kamoshida's head. Shadow Kamoshida then, instead of taking 2 turns each time, he only takes 1 turn, and the other turn he's dejected. And he takes a lot, like a ton more damage. So it is definitely worthwhile. It's just like I said, as soon as you send one of the party members out, he also gets a very, very powerful attack, so kind of want to avoid that. After all, I'm doing okay right now. It's not terrible. We're keeping on top of stuff, and worst comes to worst, I can always throw out. I do have some big heals still. We do have some SP heals. We can get both Anne and Morgana on a single character, which will heal them mostly to full. And if I get like a Tarkaja, Rakunda, all that sort of stuff going on here, Ryuji can be doing like 150 damage each round. And then any amount of SP or any amount of HP that he's using that attack in the first place, really should be remembering to, you know, actually guard when he's going to be attacking Anne there. Oh well, throw down another bead. That's what you got him for. Alright, Tarakaja. Tarakaja, Rakunda, it's a good combination if you can get both on there. This isn't like the old SMT games where you had Tarakaja and then Rakukaja and Makakaja, and a bunch of different things. One attack buff is all you need. And then even if I decide that I don't want to be having Ryuji just hemorrhaging health to try to use his big physical attack, his magic attack will also be very effective too. And this is one of the reasons why I do like these games. There is a little bit more strategy than you usually get here, and they really do try to go all out with making the battles interesting. Having a bunch of different dialogues and everything like that. So, I mean, really, I could have probably healed the main character there, but like I said, the main character is going to be... The main character is going to be pretty resistant against anything that Shadow Kamashita is going to be doing. So, if he's only taking single-digit HP counts each time he gets attacked, it's like, he doesn't need to be healed for a while, really. Alright, Ryuji does, though, because, you know, physical attacks use HP. So, if I want to keep casting that, and I don't want him to die from one unlucky hit, gotta keep that health up. Or one unlucky combo. And about halfway down here, it's like... It's slow, but it's certainly pretty safe. Not having any real issue when it comes to keeping everybody mostly topped off. Nobody's died yet. I haven't had to use that revive bead, so it's going all right. I don't know. As long as I make sure that he can't... You know, physical resistance is good. Making sure that he has physical resistance and lowered attack, even better. I mean, I guess I don't really want to be using too much HP now, because that could start to get me in a dangerous situation. Yeah, I just want to check quick. It's like, can I get more damage out of that? And the answer is marginally more, I guess. Guns seem to be mostly... From what I've seen so far, guns seem to be mostly used for enemies that are weak to guns, and that's about it. Okay, now past me, will you please remember to guard with Anne this time? For God's sake, this is getting ridiculous. And get the headbutt there, cool. I mean, it does do more damage than the other stuff. Than the other attack he has, so, like... Sometimes you gotta remember that, like, having... Man, that's still a lot of damage. What was I saying here? Sometimes larger HP counts are because they apply, like, a debuff or have, you know, higher than usual critical attack or something like that. And that's not... And sometimes that's not really what you want to be using over just raw damage, which I think is what I'm going for here. Yeah, just to make sure that I'm not... That he doesn't have a round where he's at full power. Because, for example, a full power attack for Ryuji there would probably put him in a bad position if he even survived it. Really getting there now. Yeah. No, I do. You know, I was saying earlier that it's like I do really the idea of this like being the system of a down world. It's like I do wonder if they are going to continue with that for the entirety of the game here. That if it's like we are just going to be fighting more and more pure evil characters until we fight the biggest pure evil character, and we're just like, yeah, now we've made the world safe for everybody. So, you know, it's going to see that theme through to the ending. Or if there's going to be like a point in time where the character kind of starts to learn to trust people more, you know, lets more people in on the whole thing. Villains start to become more... Shouldn't have sent Anne. Oh well. Like, yeah, villains start to become, like, more sympathetic. You start to realize some of the wrongdoings that you might have perpetrated in the course of this. And you kind of, like, mature as a person or something over time. That's kind of where the game is heading. It's something that I'm wondering. Because I do think that it's like when you get about halfway... Oh, yep, here's the big attack. But, yeah, it does seem like maybe about halfway through the game when you start to talk to Najima, it's like maybe that's a point in time where you start to, you know, like trust the police, you know, start to get on their side. And then it's like, you know, working together to make society better rather than, you know, as one disillusioned teenager. So a fun thing about that line is that a special attack in Japanese is called like a sure kill attack. And what he was saying in that second part there is like, yeah, it's my special attack, my sure kill attack. And boy howdy, does it really look like that. I didn't even bother blocking with Morgana because, Jesus, I think that he would have been taken down regardless. Everybody else, though, did get that. And hey, it's a blue butterfly. That's an old Persona thing. So, yeah, of course it's a gigantic spike. And that's exactly what I would be expecting out of Kamoshida. And that is not physical damage. That is almighty damage. Almighty is an element in the series. It pretty much means that it isn't, nothing is weak against it, but also nothing is strong against it. Nothing can nullify almighty damage. Nothing can reflect it, drain it, whatever. It is, usually reserved for the big attacks. Yeah, I know. That was a bad idea. I think he says something along the lines with, hey, I could see your rockin' bot over there. It's like, yeah, great, cool. But yeah, defending is pretty much your best bet when it comes to almighty attacks. And there are actually some enemies that can reflect or drain almighty attacks, but those tend to be of, like, final boss caliber. You don't see that with regular enemies. You don't even see that with regular bosses. It has to be something real special if it's going to nullify almighty damage. I mean, sure, I guess. Just to kind of make it so you're not going to die here. It's only been one casualty in this fight so far. And I was still kind of going off the idea at this point in time that maybe you can't actually beat Kamoshida unless you get the treasure off his head. Not, in fact, the case. You can. You just beat him in a traditional style. Like I said, it just makes it much easier if you do get this whole thing going on. Yeah, didn't get this in my English version playthrough, but he's basically saying, hey, let's show him the kill shot one more time. And probably was going to get the crown off here, but doesn't really matter. And here's actually where I was starting to get a little desperate and decide to go just full-on aggro with the idea that I might be able to take him down before, or at least, sorry Ryuji, but you're going to be sacrificial lamb here. Oh wait, no, this is the one where he says, hey, I'm going to show the kill shot one more time. Right, the last thing was, he has some lines when you have characters to show that he's getting distracted. Just being like, hey, I'm not that bad of a guy or whatever. Trust me. Ah, that's rough. Like I said, I'm going kind of with the assumption that I might have been able to blitz him down fast enough. And I was thankfully lucky there. Very nice. Finally getting a decent amount of money for stuff. You get like 800,000 or something when you're playing safety. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, there we go. First palace of the game is finally over. I mean, minus the cutscene, of course. And thankfully it does stay tiny version this time. Even though, again, it was floating before. I mean, we can probably pretty easily take him out right now, so it's a fruitless effort. And also, again, just too far, too late to try to give him any sort of redeemability here. Pure evil. And by that, I mean steal it. So come on, man. Don't make me use my come on strategy again. Come on.
でも飛び降りるしかなかった。あんたはどうするの？飛び降りる？それともここで死んでみる？
一思いにとどめさしちまうか？まあ任すぜ。
やめてくれ！頼む！やめてくれ！
みんなあんたにそう言ったんじゃないの？けどあんたは平気で奪ってたん
だ。わかった。俺の負けだ。とどめを刺せよ。そうすれば現実の俺にもとどめを刺せる。勝ったお前らにはその資格がある。
廃人になられたら罪が証明できなくなる。
アンドのは優しいな。
俺は負けた。負けたら終わりだ。これからどうすればいいんだ。分かった。俺は現実の俺の中に帰ろう。
おいおい、長話してる暇はないぜ。ここはすぐに崩壊する。
Been a while since we got a proper cutscene there. All right. So I think one of the most interesting things about that little exchange there was that apparently the reason that people's minds shut down are because you kill the shadow version of them. Maybe that's actually an alternate way to be getting rid of palaces. But I did have somebody in the comment section tell me that it was because you stole the unrevealed treasure. But it does seem like that also might be an alternate way to cause the whole psychotic breakdown type of thing going on there. I'll say it wasn't metal the entire time. I was right. Hooray, I'm the best. I can guess things. I can guess very obvious things. Oh well. I mean, but he was already in swim gear and everything most of the time anyway, and everything was, you know, based around volleyball and all that. So why would you even need to change that? It's not like it wouldn't have fit with the theming or anything. It was pretty clear even in the castle that there was more than enough stuff going on. Somehow I'm not surprised. Well, so now we just play the waiting game, which is boring. I want to go play Hungry Hungry Hippos. All right, and that's a Simpsons reference for the series, Never Again. Well, it doesn't really matter anyway, since I know that, you know, we don't get expelled. the whole Najima cutscene. Ah, well. In the meantime, yeah, no more dungeons now to do for a while. So, If you're a big fan of the dialogue sections, I'm going to be having a lot coming up here. And I do like the social links. That's probably my favorite bit of the Persona games. Because they're just little vignettes, little tiny stories. Like, it was a scum. I mean, I know I was transcribing this late at night, and but when I saw that on screen, I even did like a double take, being like, wait, is that really what's written there? I mean, you know, it is definitely encouraging in some ways to know that even if you are a professional working on a game here, that sometimes you screw up, and sometimes you say stuff like somebody was a scum. It does make me feel a little bit more confident in my ability to eventually do something of a similar sort. Screw up? Yes. That's what I mean. I'm still not entirely sure that I didn't just do that incorrectly. But I definitely did the double take. I spit out the coffee that I was drinking at that time, and my eyes popped right out of my head. And I jumped up in the air, hunched over my back, and let my tongue roll on the ground. And other cartoon things, I don't know. Let's just... Look, we accomplished a lot here. I'm happy to finally be done with the first storyline, and I'm interested in seeing where the game's going to go now. If it's going to be kind of a... You know, like, what sort of direction are we heading? Is it going to be like a... you know, maturing, figuring out your place in society, that sort of thing? Trying to overcome, actually rehabilitate in more ways than one? Or is it just going to be like, hey, we're taking down the man? Who knows? I don't know. I didn't really think all that much about that. I mean, it didn't really seem all that pertinent, you know, considering you were dying there. But I mean, we got to stay in costume and everything before leaving the palace. I mean, all right, sure, whatever. Yeah, very cool. And of course I'm going to relay the actual, like, literal message here. Just to remind you that Morgana is, in fact, sitting over your shoulder, reading your phone. Sakura does not care. He continues shining glasses over in the corner. Despite the fact that the cat is meowing up a storm. Alright, next time, we learn a little bit more about Ryuji and what his deal is.